Hello, welcome to Let's Talk Marriage. Today we are addressing a very, very important issue. And the topic today is gender roles in marriages. Gender roles. Oh my, it's going to be interesting. So we're going to talk about what it is. What is the role of each person in the marriage? What's the leadership in a marriage? What does it look like? How do we adapt to specific change in dynamics when it happens? So let's talk about that today. With me is my darling Yinka Marcus. Welcome. Sam Babatunde, welcome.
Anna darling, thank you so much.
And my friend Kofo Babatunde, welcome.
Thank you.
So let's get into it and let's define what is it? Gender roles together as two words together. Let's define them as they are.
Good.
Okay, you want to sound?
All right. Pray for me. Genders. First and foremost, there are only two genders in this institution of marriage. Male and female, that is the husband and wife. And then, of course, you have other members of the family, such as children, in-laws. Let's use the word in-law to cover parents and all the other relations.
Friends.
And then, of course, we have friends, and then you have maybe your stewards or servants or helps. Let's use the word helps or butlers, stuff like that. So, what are the roles? In all honesty, it's always best to go back to the first principles. And what's our first principles? That's the scriptures. What did the scripture of God says through the scriptures to us as to how to run the family or the roles in the family? And it's very clear from the book of Ephesians chapter 5. Many often do start from verse 22 that says, wives, submit. And that's where the canal of worms starts opening up.
That's where the problem starts.
But the preceding verse to that one, verse 21, says, first and foremost, submitting one to each other. In other words, you must learn to build a joint relationship, and that is actually the art of leadership. Then it now began to say, well, so we used to have what they call it, a strategy for answering this is called SLOW or SLOOW, so we call it slow. Wives stands for the S, submit. Husbands, L, love. Children, O, obey. Workers, that is like your service staff or others, like a relation, wherever, they are also supposed to do what? To also obey, to work and obey. work without eye service. No eye service, that is work consensual, conscientiously, and obey. So with those acronyms, you can remember. But we need to add some extra qualification from the same scriptures to those keywords. When they say wife submit, it says submit to your husband as unto who? As unto the Lord. The Lord that we serve, our Lord and Master Jesus Christ, has never been a slave driver or a taskmaster. It's a loving God. The husband that is to be submitted to, we are told, should be the husband that loves that same wife. How? The way Jesus Christ, the Lord, to whom the wife should submit as unto the Lord, the way that Jesus Christ loves the church and did what? And gave himself for it. If you ask many husbands today, are you ready to die for your wife? The likely answer you'll get is, oh, no. My own love is an undying love. I can't die for her. Then you start wondering, then why are you the Lord of the Rings or the headmaster in the house or the sergeant at arms? Now, children, their own is to obey. And it shouldn't sound any strange to their ears. They are young and growing. There are issues out of our loins and they are growing. Bible says it's attaching even double blessings to that obedience if they can do it, because it's assuring them, number one, longevity, and assuring them good health along with that longevity. No child will hear that one and will want to run away from being obedient. And of course, if you're a worker, servant, or in-laws, you come to a house like that one, You just have to obey the rules and regulations and work conscientiously, and you'll get the fruit of it. Those are the basic definitions I know from the scriptures about genders and their roles. But as the moderator has said, we are now going to examine influences or impact from whether culture, locations, or whatever. But these fundamentals must be borne in mind, and it strikes one thing which I would like to end up with there. If you look at the intertwining nature of the two principles, that is the wife and the husband, or the husband and the wife, it must be sacrificial and servant leadership that system that they must develop. And to let us know that it's not as simple as that, the last verse here in that same Ephesians 5 says, therefore these two must come together as one, and it is a mystery, because 1 + 1 can never be ordinarily equals to 1. It must be equals to 2. But the Bible says they must be equal to 1. And it says this is the mystery. So that mystery locked down there is the servant leadership. I'll leave it at that until we start discussing the challenges of leadership.
That's how you know pastors. That's the long definition of gender roles that I've ever heard. But yeah, it's good to touch on, because in a marriage there are many people in it, children, everybody else. But for this, our discussion today, we're talking about the marriage between two people, the man and the woman. And we're saying that what we're talking about is the marriage as ordained by God that we know of the Bible, and it's between a man and a woman. So the gender there, of course, like our pastor said, is like the woman and the man coming together to become one. All right. So now that you have given us a long definition, do you have another that you want to give as gender role definition, or is it all covered?
Well, I think it's covered, mostly covered, but also Jesus said that those who will be leaders should be servants. So it's like he said, is a servant leadership. You know, and it doesn't press and oppress the people
Oppress
the other.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah.
Any other definition of gender roles?
Yeah, I love what Yinka is saying here, that it's a servant leadership that we're talking about. So it's not a leader that is just calling the shot and harassing everybody. You know, it has to be done in love. It has to be done in as like a servant. You're actually serving the people.
Absolutely.
You're serving your wife. You're serving your family. You know. Yes, giving direction. So it's like it's just to have a direction. Okay, this is the direction we go. And we're doing it in love and in like a servant.
Yeah. Okay, so great. Now, the one definition that I have heard from a lot of people, especially men, is that when we talk about gender roles in a marriage, I am the head of this house. I'm the head. As a man, I lead my family. And my wife follows me, and the children follow her. And that is the role. And as women, you follow everything that the husband does or wants to do, or the decisions. He is the decision maker. He is the head in every way. He calls the shots, like Kofo said, and he is in charge of everything. Basically, he has the last say in everything, and that is the role of the man. The role of the woman is to follow the man's leadership, is to follow the man's headship, is to follow the decisions that the man makes, and is to follow whatever the man wants, right? And then the children follow the woman, and because the woman follows the man, the children will follow the woman and in whatever the man wants, right? Because she is following the man, and the children will follow her because she will be telling them what daddy wants. Okay? So now, the picture I have painted right now, I know some people are just waiting for me to end there so that they can say, well, that is not right, or that is in the dark ages, and that is in the past. But what we're trying to say here is that we need to look at the word headship and submission in a way that God really intended it to be.
Yep.
And that is where we would say it's a servant leadership. So what does that mean?
Good.
Because for the man that is listening to me here, saying, yes, that's it. Yes, that's what I believe should be happening. What is servant leadership?
Good.
Kofo, you want to start?
Yeah, I would say that honestly, servant leadership is like in a home. We know from the scriptures, there's a basic principle of the scripture says that the man is the head, is the one. But see, his headship is not to terrorize. His headship is not to direct, to oppress and push people and suppress and think that people don't know what to do. The wife is not good enough to know what to do by herself. No, it is to actually bring together all the resources that he has and use those resources in a very effective and efficient way. So it's to be a servant leader, to be a leader, a head of the home, is to be able to utilize everyone. The wife should be able to, if you're a leader in a home and your wife cannot take any decision, it's a failure on the man because you have not done a good job. Because your job is to make sure that whether you are there or not, things are moving, decisions are being made, and those decisions can be trusted, can be useful and effective. So servant leadership is serving the children with, you're not lording over them. You're serving them with what is good. You're serving them with training. You're serving them so that they too can become independent. So servant leadership in the home is like bringing up your home to independence, where they can be independent to do what they need to do, not to micromanage. Because that's what happens. The leader is micromanaging everything because I'm the head. So we say do this and then you must do it the way I want. It's not possible. Nobody can do this thing the way you would do it. So that's what I would say. Maybe I should stop here and somebody else.
I'm enjoying that.
Yeah.
Fire on, man. Game on.
Yeah. In other words, a leader in the home, the husband, should be able to replicate himself. So if yourself is not good, it will be seen in the home. But when it's good, when you're serving in love like Jesus did, Jesus never forced anybody to do anything. Even the worst of the sinners, the worst of the people, he still gave them room to be themselves, to give them room to know whether they can, how to change. So yeah, so I think
okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Anything to add, Sam?
Well, I think she said the hammering here right now is servant leadership. And what is servant leadership? It must be humble. It must be ready to galvanize all the resources under the ambit of your family to produce the best results to the glory of God. Not to harness them to your own satisfaction or advantage and they show up to say, I'm the man, and they have, can't you see how my home is running? That's a defeat. That, as she has said, you failed already, dead on arrival. Because those children around you there, or the wife around you there, will bring a wrong impression of you out, and there will be reactions, there will be actions and reactions, and that will lead to consequences. There will be issues under the table, and that's actually where conflict starts rising. And they may not manifest on day one or year one. It's a matter of time. They accumulate under the carpet there, and then one day, as we always say in the popular adage or proverb, the last straw that does what? That breaks the camel's back. It may just be only the fact that you threw in an extra sugar too much in my tea. and then there's a volcanic eruption. And people
Yeah.
are wondering, what happened? Only one extra cube. I didn't do more than that and that's why this happened. No, it wasn't that cube.
So build up.
It's
of
a build-up.
Other things.
Resentments, yeah.
Leadership failure. So it's all over the place, in church, in family, in government, everywhere. Once you're able to galvanize resources under you and make that the best, there are some organizations where you have even some professionals under them that are earning, in terms of earning power right now, if we were to compare what is leadership by way of earning, which is not even supposed to be the right parameter or criteria, who are earning much more than some of their bosses.
Right.
Because of the specific attributes or talents they bring into the picture. But at the same time, they gave the leadership role to those people because they see that they have the ability to harness all those resources and bring out a combined, more beautiful
That's a very
results.
good analogy there for the marriage.
Yeah.
Because if the man sees something in the wife that, oh, she can be good in this thing.
Exactly.
She's better than me in
Yeah.
this, and she can do this better. So I will trust it and then trust it to her and let her run with it, rather than, like you said, micromanage every little thing. What do you think?
Well, I think I agree with everything everybody said, you know, and I think Jesus shows us a good example, really, you know, and also his father Joseph also showed a good example. He didn't say a word, but he kept his family cool. He let them shine, you know, and the background.
He let
you know.
Jesus shine.
Yeah, and for a good leader wants the person coming behind him to be better than him.
Yeah.
And that's for sure, right? You know.
And to bring this person who you have married to see the potential in them and to help bring that potential
promote them.
out, to promote
Build
them,
them up.
to lift them up and not tear them down, and because you now have become the head, and then you're suppressing all the other good things in your wife. Even with children,
Yeah.
we need to see potential in our children and give them room to grow.
Absolutely.
Because after all, they are individuals. You know,
Yes.
they're total individuals. You know, like there's a book called The Prophet, and they were asking about children. It says the children are not really yours; they are God's. You're,
Exactly.
you're there to you're just a support to be the foster parents, you know, and make them be the best they could be.
Absolutely.
You know, another area of leadership that just came to me as you were talking now, Yinka, is this, where the Bible says that the wife is a helpmate. So, which means that the man is weak, right? Because you need help when you're weak.
Wow.
When you're weak, you need help.
That's a way to look at it.
Yes. So it means that, and that's why the Bible also says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor. So it means that there's a limit to which the man can go.
Yes.
And it's like there's a ceiling over him. If he wants to excel from that point, then he had better get his helper.
That's right.
Because he can cannot move further by himself. He needs a help. So when the helper now comes, a helper knows what to do. So why would you micromanage the helper? Then it means you are not accepting that help, and it's not going to work. And that's where there's always crisis in the home. So the helper comes, she knows what to do. She has skills, she has things that she can do. She can be well recognized in those things. And it's going to be a blessing to that leader. And that is the leadership servant, the servant leadership
trait.
we're talking about. So you're there, you're serving. So the woman comes, and that's where the home is going to be beautiful. When you let the helper do her job. You needed help. That's why you got a helper. So why would you do it again?
God gave you.
Exactly. So yeah, that just came to me now.
Oh,
and I
that's
just said, let me
a
put that
powerful
through.
point. Because then, if you don't allow the helper to do the job, you're robbing yourself.
Absolutely.
You're robbing yourself of the help that you need. You're robbing yourself of the glory that would come if you receive the help and you let the help do the job. You're robbing yourself of anything that, the good that can come from coming together and agreeing that, this is what God has given me.
Absolutely.
And you're also saying to God that, yes, God, I see this helper and I accept her. I embrace her and I let her do her
And
job.
allow her, give her freedom.
And thank you, God, for
Yes.
this help, because without this help, where would I be?
Exactly.
I remember a few months ago when my husband said, I think it just dawned on him that I'm a good helper.
It's just turned
It's
on
about
me.
time. It's about
After so
time.
long, right? So he's like, oh, I don't know where it would be without you. I would be so lost. I would be so confused.
Wow.
I said that long time ago, like
Yeah.
10, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I said that many times.
When we got married.
Yeah, after we got married. Do you remember?
And then you're reiterating it again. And
Yes,
saying it
that's
again.
right.
to
But you didn't hear me then. You just heard me last week.
And that's a possibility.
Now is the hearing time.
So now is the wax is off the air,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it was like I was hearing it for the very first time,
that's so
and I was
sweet.
like, wow! I wish I heard this 35 years ago.
Would have done more.
It would have been easier.
I think you didn't want to hear it then.
That's so sweet.
Leadership challenge.
So yeah, sometimes we need to say these things, and and it's encouraging to the woman when we bring each other down. It doesn't encourage us to be what we need to be to each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm just thinking that you have a plumbing problem. You get help. And then you bring the plumber and you're telling the plumber, no, put the pipe this way, put that way. And then the plumber says, you know what?
Why did you call me?
Do it yourself.
Yes.
And then he goes.
DIY.
And that's what we're doing. Many marriages are doing,
that's-
right? So if the wife is the one that is the plumber, so be it. So
That's
you
right.
sit down, yes. Let her, give her room to realize, to bring out her potential. It's going to be your blessing as a man.
Wow.
And if you don't become a servant leader, then you're going to get a lot of anxiety.
Absolutely.
Because you would how do they say it? You will spread yourself too
Thin.
thin.
Yes.
And you won't get anything 100 very well because and you have to go to work. Oh boy, it's going to be stressful.
That's definition of a jack of all what?
Of all trade, master of none.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're talking about gender roles in a marriage, and we're saying that as the man is the head. We agree because that's what God laid down for us. However, we're talking about servant leadership, not a boss or someone who just wants to beat you up. Beat people up in the marriage and say they have to be in charge of everything and all that. And so we're saying that if you do your servant leadership well, you will know that your helpmate is also important.
Yes.
And if you don't allow the help, then you rob yourself, you rob your family, you rob the community because
Right.
the woman is not happy.
Yeah.
And if she's not happy, then she can't do much in the community, in the home.
Yeah.
So now let's go to this thing they call breadwinner. Because the thing is, okay, so the society, I think, or the culture has put it on the man, which is unfortunate that you have to be the breadwinner. You have to provide for your family. You have to do this. You have to do that. And so there's a lot put on the man. And if you hold on to that and so rigidly,
Right.
what happens to you when you lose your job and your wife is working? Then what happens to that role that they've enforced on you? How do we address that?
Well, if I can contribute at this point
Yes.
again, I think we really need to be careful about interpretations or conceptions of the Word of God and not take them totally out of context. Yes, when you mention this breadwinner stuff, I don't even know how many bread they win, but the scripture everybody always easily refers to is 1 Timothy 5:8 that says a man that's unable to provide for his family is worse than an infidel. I think we need to be careful about interpreting that word too far. God is not an author of confusion, and that's why he sets leadership. So you know what? It can only take 2 to tango as husband and wife. We can't have 3 or 5. So amongst the 2 of you, let the man be in the leadership role. But if the man performs his job very well, the first responsibility is how to keep that mystery of unity. Bible says, and therefore a man shall leave his family, husband, father and mother, and cleave to his wife, and the two of them shall become what? Shall become one. And Bible says in Ephesians 5:33, and that is a mystery.
And that's how he leads.
Exactly.
To bring that oneness.
Wield that unity, that oneness.
Make it strong.
Make it strong. So strong that people will start asking, like in the days of Jesus. You know, it took a while for people to identify who is Jesus. That's why they had to go and hire, what's that brother's name? Brother Judas. We can't recognize who this man called Jesus amongst you of you. Each time you guys gather together, all of you have blended. Can you help us out? And then he agreed to betray him and say, the one I kiss, that's the one.
The one.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to identify him. If a leader builds his home very well, just like if a leader builds his country, his states, province, whatever, enclave, organization, he builds very well, people don't need to start struggling to find out who is in charge here. All they want to how are you guys doing it here is what they want to see. You guys are so wielded, so strong, harnessing the resources of the wife, that of the son or daughter, or even a house help. Wielding them all together and producing fantastic results. Nobody will ask how many bread you have won or not won, because they are so so united in front. So because life is always in what they call it, in phases or swings or seasons, right? Yes. We have the winter season, the summer, the autumn. There are times the man may be high in good earning power, and there are times he's just down. But in a good home that he has already, in a good leadership, in a good home where he has already exhibited and the power of his leadership traits, you won't feel the difference much, if at all any. They will still be coasting along and life will be so smooth, because everybody will see, as the Bible says in Acts chapter 2, 46 to 41 to 47, they were all together in one accord and they lacked nothing. They were busy breaking bread, enjoying everything together. Nobody knows whose own was what. So if you are to lead in a way to consolidate that mystery of unity, all the resources between you and your wife are one. So which bread is whose bread?
There's only one bread.
Only one bread.
In fact, the man should give up his bread if there is not enough for everybody. And
Exactly.
let the others have
Exactly.
it.
But not the ones. I've seen some parents, some head men that will say, unless you serve me first, nobody else eats in this house. Or you reserve only the best for the man, and the man is even. He eats red meat that is no longer good for his health, and deprives his children that are going to benefit from that red meat. Exactly. So, really, if we situate the definition of our roles in good context, able to provide for his home or unable and therefore become an infidel is the man that suffers leadership capabilities to wield unity, the mystery of unity in that family, and make everybody feel like, you know what, we don't lack anything in this home. Everybody's just coasting along. That's my own interpretation.
That Timothy that you quoted, I think it also is a reflection of the times of the world, right? Because at that time, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, the woman is mainly is stay at home mom, and you know.
Yeah. And at that time too, they have the farm, and the man goes to the farm and does all the thing, and then he needs the wife to go on and help with all this, maybe reaping, cultivating
the fields,
and all that.
I have an idea. He was talking about those
providing
men who just sit at home. Instead of going to work,
and do nothing.
They're not
exactly. That's the infidel.
That's the other side of it.
The one that produces no unity of purpose in there.
Yeah. So another area I want us to look into is, talking about this gender role. Women and men are wired differently. And I know a lot of people say that, I do the I'm doing the housework, I'm doing the this as a woman, I'm looking at this, I'm looking at that. No one has asked you to. It's just the way you're wired. We're the ones that are sensitive to things like that. Men may not be really sensitive to it, yeah, but that doesn't mean that you're just relegated to do that area. But you're the one that sees it. When you talk about color, for example, I do just like the color of this curtain, and my husband will be saying that the color. It's my problem, it's my issue, it's the way I'm wired. So I'm all out. So if I'm going to do something about it, I probably will be going around doing it, you know. So the areas we're wired, you know, pushes us to do certain things. And because you do it well, you know, your partner can just leave it for you to do, you know. So, and then they begin to think that I'm the only one doing this, I'm the only one doing that. Well, I think it calls also for support as well. So yes, you're wired to do something. The other person can also, the other spouse can learn to support.
Yeah, and interestingly, you know, like I know a woman can do whatever a man can do. Is that what he says? A man can also do whatever a woman can do. So the man can wash the plates, can put it in the dishwasher, can do laundry, you know, can cook, you know. So in order to help each other, especially if the woman has children and she's busy she goes to work, she comes back, she's busy all day, you know, the man should be able to help out and do some things too.
Absolutely.
That
area you just touched right now I think is very key. I'm sure for many of our listeners, they are wondering, am I confined to the kitchen as a woman? No. Am I confined to the field as a man to go and fill all the cars with fuel and stuff? No. Share roles, exploit. You see, when you synergize and exploit talents, you will exploit who is best in certain areas, but you must still lend support and join each other so that you can be producing continuously a fantastic result. So no one is confined to a permanent, whether you're in the Western culture or any culture, Africa, or any culture at all. You know, it's the spirit of give and take.
And that's the thing, how God created us, right? Women are nurturers naturally. Exactly. We're nurturers. That's why we have wombs. Men don't have wombs.
You are our wombs.
So
we
birthed the men. We brought them. If not for women, no man will be around. Yeah?
So you're a leader.
Tell them.
Exactly. Right. And so we have wombs, and that's why we are most of the time always trying to nurture. And we try to nurture by cleaning and washing and feeding and doing all these things because of the way we are created. And there's nothing wrong with that. Even if you cook every meal every day, be happy doing it. You know, because it's the way we are created. However, like my husband said, and I will always say this, I love his cooking. And it's great to have that, like we're talking about servanthood, servant leadership. And if he is a leader, sometimes you say, my wife, sit down, let me cook for you today. Or on Sunday, I'm going to make you this, and I just want you to relax. And because you cook every day and every meal, you do the laundry every time. I'm going to do it today. I'm going to cook, and you sit down and enjoy, and I'm going to serve you. And so
I think Jesus did that, right? By washing the
feet of his disciples. Breakfast in bed.
We need to be like Christ. Christ-likeness in a marriage.
That's why he says, husband, love your wife as who?
As Christ loved the church and gave his life for her.
Even his life to him. Not an undying love, it's a dying love.
It's not easy, I must say, because even in our culture, right? Like if the man is cooking in the kitchen and his mother comes, the woman will run and get the cooking from him, because the culture says if your husband cooks, then there's a problem. There's something not right there. But then again, there are times when older women, maybe in-laws, they need to learn that, you know, we're in a different place, you know, in life. And once in a while, husbands can cook, wives can cook, husbands can do dishes, wives can do dishes. Husbands can do laundry. Wives can do laundry.
Yeah.
Wives can fill,
as
can
Ika said
put
a
the
while
gas.
ago,
Yes.
thousands of years ago, some of these roles were initially just shared that was, okay, man, you look muscular, you can handle the cutlass and the hoe, you hold the ground so that we can sow the seeds and bear fruits. While the man is busy hoeing the field and sowing seeds, somebody needs to be getting some food ready. The woman, as you already said, because of your nurturing nature, which is natural that comes with you guys, the man is laboring, he needs some comfort when he's back. So let's get some food ready out of the fruits or the yield of that labor in the field. Let's prepare something. When they come back, we say, oh wow, I remember that seed. So it has multiplied. It multiplied and get this one. It will eat the food with joy and blessings for the family. So there's a serious synergy in what we are discussing. And then you may get another climb and there's a role change. Just look for, who can do this better? Like my sister said a while ago, a wife or a woman in the house is suddenly found to be very good in mathematics or arts of keeping records or accounts. Then you want to say, no, because I'm the head of this house. Hey, print thousands of dollars. We are going to US tomorrow, like our one old leader in Africa used to say. But how it's going to, where it's coming from, you don't have an idea, you know? That doesn't run well for the home. That's a real part of an infidel. But if you are truly cannibalizing your leadership properly. So I think it's very necessary to emphasize the fact that we're not demeaning what some people are going through, but if you imbibe the true culture of God, His principles and His interpretation as we are sharing this hour, I think it will go a long way to dissolve or to, dissolve some of these tensions happening around gender roles in the homes and families.
Reduce anxiety and all there won't be any kind of competition going on. And also the most important thing, one of the most important things is to acknowledge each other. So don't look down on the woman because she's cooking or she's in the house.
Absolutely
because she's breastfeeding, she's not going to work, and you know, don't demean what the woman is doing. And the woman too. Acknowledge your husband's going to work every day. Say thank you for going to work today. You know, thank you for earning so much. Thank you for all this, and just appreciating each other. Right. So we have to end it here. It's been an interesting discussion today. You must have gotten something from it, or some of your questions have been answered somehow. But if you have more questions for us, just let us know. Send your comments, send your suggestions, whatever you have. Email us or send to us through our social media, and we will get back to you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the great discussion today.
My pleasure.
And everybody, be a servant leader in your home. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.
Bye.